How's it going, guys? This is Daniel, this is Dragoncrafts. We are back with a new video and a new deck profile, and as you can see I have a Generaider deck for you. I've had this deck for quite some time now. I've been building this deck since Mystic Fighters. I've tried a lot of cards and I think this is the best build for this deck. I might be missing a couple of cards here and there. However, I'm really happy with the result of this deck. So let's get into it and show you what cards we play in this deck. So starting off, we play 3 copies of Lopter, Shadow of the Generaider bosses. This has become probably the most important card that we run in this deck. First of all, it's a level 4 monster, which can easily be normal summoned. Also, during your opponent's turn, all Generaider cards, monsters you control, will gain 1000 attack and defense during your opponent's turn only. And also, for a quick effect, you can tribute 1 Generaider monster, including himself. Special summon 1 level 9 Generaider monster with a different name from your deck. And you can only use each effect once per turn. This card will go into a lot of Generaider monsters from the deck. We can tribute him, we can tribute a token or any other Generaider that we have on the field at the current time. So yeah, Lopter is quite an important card in this deck. Then we play 1 copy of Mardel, Shadow Generaider Boss of Light. You really need to play 1 in this deck. I've seen decks that play 2 or 3, it's fine really. However, I think 1 copy is fair enough. Basically, when this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Generaider or plant monster from your deck to your hand except Boss of Light, and you can only use this effect once per turn. Next we play 2 copies of Hard Generaider Boss of Storms. This is one of the most powerful Generaiders you will have in your deck, simply for the fact that once per turn, if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand except during the draw phase, you can make your opponent send 1 monster from their hand or field to the graveyard. They are going to choose, but this card is also a quick effect removal. And another effect is that when a card or effect is activated, as a quick effect you can tribute 2 Generaiders or spellcasters, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only use each effect once per turn. And another thing I forgot to mention about Generaider monsters is that you can only control 1 of each Generaider at a time. So yeah, you can control Mardel and Har, but you cannot control, for example, 2 Har Generaiders. Next, 2 copies of Hela Generaider Boss of Doom. This is the monster reborn of the deck. Basically, as a quick effect, you can tribute 1 Generaider monster or a zombie to target 1 Generaider or zombie monster in your graveyard with a different name than the tributed monster had on the field. You special summon that monster in defense position, and that's why you can only use each effect once per turn. This card is especially powerful. Like I said, it's a monster reborn for this deck. She has a quick effect, and yeah, it's really a good card to play. Then 1 copy of Utgarda, Generaider Boss of Delusion. Basically what it does, for a quick effect, you can tribute 2 Generaider monsters or rock monsters, target 1 card on the field and banish it. This is especially a good card since it doesn't destroy. This card will banish any card on the field. It goes for any card, so yeah, it can come in really handy during a game. Technically, the best Generaiders that we run in this deck are Utgarda and Har, but still the other Generator monsters are not that bad. Somewhat situational, but in the deck you will see a lot of Generators, so you will need more so that you can cycle. 1 Nidhogg Generaider Boss of Ice. This one you get to tribute 1 Generaider or Were monster to negate the summon of a monster and destroy that monster. However, you have to keep in mind the monster can't be summoned by a card effect. Like Nidhogg can negate special summons such as Cyber Dragon, for example, but for example you cannot negate a monster summon that is coming from, I don't know, from polymerization or something like that. So you have to pay attention when playing. This card is not as good as it seems, however 2600 defense is quite okay. Then one Dovelgis, Generaider, boss of Iron. With this one you can tribute any number of Generaider or machine monsters to special summon the same number of monsters from your hand. They have to be either Generaider or machines. Also they must have different names from each other. Then one Nagelfar, Generaider, boss of Fire. This practically when a card or cards would be destroyed, you can destroy one Generaider monster or a beast warrior instead. This is a good protective card. 3100 attack points, which is also a beater for this deck. Nagelfar, very good. And last of the Generaiders will be Frody, Generaider, boss of Swords. Now I don't see people playing this card, and I can understand, because its effect is that you get to tribute any number of Generaiders or warrior monsters, target that many monsters on the field, destroy them. However, your opponent will draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed on their field. So a lot of people don't play this card simply for the fact that this card will generate a lot of advantage to the opponent, but I would play one just in case. You can activate this effect during the end phase, so yeah, practically unless he's drawing all the hand traps, your opponent will have no response to your turn. So yeah, I think Generaider, I think Frody is a good choice in this deck. Playing only one, that's enough. So those were the Generaider monsters, and now we go for the other monsters that we play. 3 copies of Condemned Witch. This card is really good because when it's normal summoned you get to add one Forbidden Quick Play spell card, which in this deck we play Forbidden Chalice. I wish I had Forbidden Droplets, but I haven't put my hands on one of those cards yet. I really wish I could get one. It would be a fine addition to this deck. But also its second effect is that during your opponent's main phase you can tribute this card to special summon one level 4 fairy monster from your deck, except Condemned Witch, with Condemned Witch we're going for Loptir, Shadow of the Generaider bosses, which is also a fairy. So that's why Condemned Witch is a good starter in this deck. So yeah, 3 copies definitely. And to end the monster lineup, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, so that you can control more the game. This is a control deck, and it's very good at controlling the game and the pace of the game. So yeah, Ash Blossom will definitely help. Now for the spell cards we play 3 Generaider boss stage. Now this is the most important card that we run in this deck, simply because once per turn, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, you get to special summon one Generaider monster from your deck in defense position. And also if you special summon a Generaider monster during your opponent's turn, you get to summon as many Generaider tokens as possible in attack position. They are destroyed during the end phase. And since all Generaiders are level 9 monsters, excluding Loptir of course, they are a bit hard to summon. Well, not a bit, they are very hard to summon. So this card is extremely valuable in this deck, because it basically is the card that summons Generaiders to your field so that you can start off your combos. Then 2 copies of Generaider Boss Quest. I was trying to play 3, but since you can only activate it once, I think you can brick with this card if you have 3. I've been testing 2 copies of this card. I find it really comfortable because In the end, there is not a lot of Generaider spells and traps that we can go into with this deck. So 2 boss quests is fine. Basically what this card does is reveal 1 Generaider monster in your hand, add up to 2 Generaider spells and traps with different names from each other, except Generaider boss quest, and you place the reveal card at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, it's a good card for searching, but like I said, 3 copies, I think it's too much for this deck. One of the most important spell cards that we have in this deck is 3 copies of World Legacy Monstrosity. Yeah, this card is really good because you can either special summon 1 level 9 monster from your hand. Also, if you already have a level 9 monster, you can target that monster and special summon 2 level 9 monsters with different type and attribute from that face-up targeted monster with different names from each other, but these 2 monsters cannot attack. Also, they are destroyed during the end phase, but we don't need to worry about that because we will end up using the monster for an XC summon. So yeah, World Legacy Monstrosity is exceptionally important for this deck, and it's a very, very powerful card. Then we run 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. We don't use the extra deck that much in this deck, so Pot of Extravagance is an incredible addition to this deck. There was a time where I used to play Kujikiri Curse. It's a good card, however Pot of Extravagance is much better. Yeah, 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Then 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice. This card can negate a monster effect. It will increase 400 attack to that monster. But to negate a monster attack, Forbidden Chalice is really good, and given the fact that Condemned Witch can search this card, it makes this card really good in this deck. Then 1 Terraforming, simply for the fact that we need Generaider boss stage as soon as possible. 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Called by the Grave, and for the trap cards we run 3 copies of Generaider Boss Fight. With this card you can activate 1 Generaider field spell directly from your deck or graveyard, then your opponent draws 1 card. So again, with this card we are giving advantage to the opponent, giving them a card to draw. However, if you don't open up with Generaider boss stage and open up with boss fight, you can set it. When your opponent draws the card, you can activate it. Activate Generaider boss stage from your deck or graveyard, and your opponent will draw 1 card. As soon as the opponent draws that card, you are going to summon a Generaider from the deck and also fill your board with tokens. So Generaider boss fight is basically a Generaider boss stage in disguise. So yeah, it's a really good card. You have to play 3 because like I said, we need to get to Generaider boss stage as soon as possible. And to finish the deck, we run 2 copies of There Can Be Only One. I was trying with 3 copies of this card, but I found it that it's too much 3 copies. 2 of this is really good, and in this deck this card works really well since the Generaiders all have different types. So yeah, this card is good to strike a blow in your opponent's deck and keeping all the advantage for yourself. The only downside you will have in this deck with this card is with Generaider boss stage, because you will be able to summon only 1 token, since the tokens you're going to summon are all level 4, are all fairy type monsters. So we need to pay attention with this card. This card is good like for a late game, but depending on the cards that you have, you can go easily in the early game with this card. So yeah, There Can Only Be One is a great addition to this deck. And yeah, basically that's the main deck. Now for the extra deck, I run 1 Jormungandr, Generaider Boss of Eternity. Requires 2 level 9 monsters, and you can only control 1 of those. And this card's attack and defense become 1000 times the number of materials. So if you used to it, we have 2000, and you might say it's quite weak. However, when you see its effect, which is a quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card each player draws one card, then each player that drew attaches one card from their hand or field to this card, and you can only use this effect of Boss of Eternity once per turn. So this card automatically becomes somewhat of a removal to your opponent. So from 2000 attack, you detach one, both players draw a card, and they have to attach a card to your Jormungandr, and Jormungandr will gain 2000 attack from that, going up to 3000. This card is really good when going for an OTK. And to control more the game, we play two copies of True King of All Calamities. This card requires 2 or more level 9 monsters, and once per turn you can detach one Xyz material from this card, declare one attribute. All face-up monsters on the field become that attribute also. Monsters in your opponent's possession with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. So like I said, True King of All Calamities is a very powerful card. Like I said, you need 2 or more level 9 monsters. Its effect is a quick effect, so yeah, True King of All Calamities definitely is a very powerful card. Also, we play Phantom Fortress, enter Bluntier, 2 level 9 monsters again, and once per turn you can detach one material, activate one of these effects. The 4 effects of this card is banish one card your opponent controls. You can banish one random card in your opponent's hand, banish one card from your opponent's graveyard, or banish the top cards of your opponent's deck face up. 2900 attack points. This card is a really good removal. So yeah, these for me are the best rank 9 monsters that you could possibly play in this deck. Also, you could try to play 9 Life Scat. It requires 2 level 9 monsters. And another thing is that your opponent cannot target other monsters you control that were special summoned from the graveyard with card effects. And also you can detach one material from this card, target 1 level 9 monster in your graveyard or 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it. Effect similar to a Monster Reborn. It's a very powerful card. 3300 defense is not easy to run into. So yeah. And for a Link monster, I found that Bujinki Ahashima is a very powerful card here. It requires 2 monsters with the same level, can't be used as Link material, and the following effects can be used once per turn. So if this card is Link summoned, you can special summon 2 monsters with the same level, one from your hand, one from your graveyard, but negate their effects, and immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon one Xyz monster using those 2 monsters only. So yeah, you can do a lot of things with this card. You can increase the number of monsters that you will control on your field. So yeah, also if an Xyz monster that this card points to activate this effect by detaching material, you can target one spell trap your opponent controls, destroy it. So again, a good control card to play in this deck. I play only this as an extra deck. The others are random in this deck. You can play any other card that you want in this deck. I have a 15 extra deck, but most of the cards are random here. So yeah, that's basically our deck for today. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't to the channel, and also let me know what you think about this deck in the comment section below. And this is going to wrap up our video for today, so I'll see you next time, and have yourself a nice day.